Okay, we call the Board of Supervisors Executive Board together. It is now 5:03, and the first item on the agenda is approval of the minutes of 1/8/25.
These are correct.
Make a motion to accept.
Do I hear a second?
I'll second it, Bill.
Second. Any other debate? Any changes or anything like that? If not, all in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Looks like everybody is agreed. Okay. Next is the conflict of interest. It's in your packet or on the screen. Okay, Mark, it's your gig now.
Yeah, basically what we did here was I took the previous policy that was adopted some time ago, and it's identically pretty much what the League of Cities and Towns gives to communities and towns and so forth like that. And what I did was I took the recommendations that the board received from the Commission of Ethics, and I copied the most relevant parts that could perhaps enhance this policy to get something closer to what towns, cities, and chartered villages, incorporated villages, are required to do at this point, as the board asked me to do. And what I did was I highlighted those sections. You'll see that it's an exact same policy except for those highlighted in yellow sections.
Okay, let's go. Let's do that then. Let's go to each section. Page 6E. Why are we doing that?
Well, there's one of those, they have, in every contract they call clauses. And one of the things on there, I don't feel strongly either way for this, but it did say that people shouldn't collect anything over a certain amount for a ceremonial thing. And it listed a whole bunch.
So the award that we gave the last chair and the other member that we gave for their long-term service, those weren't over $150, were they?
That's right. That's to the point where this should be allowed.
Okay, so, yeah, I would think so. We're honoring people who've served for a long time. That's why I was not hoping this was not preventing. So apparently that is not the case. Okay.
It coincides with the board's rules of procedure, where after a certain amount of time, certain awards should be given to someone that has so many years in.
Yep.
So for that, they dovetail.
Okay, page 7 is all highlighted. You want to talk about that?
Yeah. If you take a look at the section on the policy that the state gave out, and this is in your last minutes of Code of Ethics. I don't know if you can see that, but that's in your last packet.
Yep, I got that.
If you take a look at what's in that, I took section 2 on page 39 of that in the packet the last time. Actually, it's on page 2, the recommendations. I took the numbers that are in there and I inserted it in there, and you see them in yellow.
And that's on page 7.
Correct.
Anybody have any issues with those?
If you take a look at the top paragraph, I put in brackets the next to last, actually the last sentence in the top paragraph.
File notice to the State Ethics Commission.
Yeah, and this includes delivering to the notice to the Board of Supervisors chairman. Ideally, I'm thinking file it with the State Ethics Commission and share it with the whole board in an open meeting. If you have a conflict, this is my conflict. Hey, my brother works for this company and he put a request for proposal in. I can't act on this, so I'm walking away. So you notify the board of your conflict, and you don't need to act on that.
Right. I used to do that when I owned the restaurant. I had to step out of the Board of Aldermen when they did the liquor control licenses. I had to be on the other side of the railing and excuse myself from that portion because I was a licensee holder. I couldn't be voting on other licensee holders. So it's the same thing if we have issues with some of the board members, their parents or an uncle or an aunt is bidding on a paving contract or bidding on something, they would just tell the board, I'm related to that person, and that's all they have to do is tell the rest of the board member they have a conflict. And they can decide if they can vote or not. Okay. So most
What happens in a situation where that comes up and then a quorum can't be reached because that particular person has a conflict? Does that excuse the quorum, or am I digging too deep into this?
I think that's something we have to figure out.
You would lose quorum. You would lose quorum.
Lose quorum.
Yep.
So that means that if we have a member of our board who is in the refuse collection and disposal services business, they should be recusing themselves from votes about things like the surcharge. Am I correct?
Correct. That's correct.
I don't agree with that, Bill. It's not a direct financial gain on my part. I'm sure you're talking about me. If I was one of the owners of the business, that's a different story. I am not one of the owners of the business, so it's not a direct financial gain on my part. That's right in the VLCT. So if you guys want to go to that, you can. Or I can get you a copy of that.
It's in here.
This is from VLCT, Mark?
Exactly. Yes. Yes.
Then it needs to be in here. Unless it's a direct financial gain on my part, I can be part of the board. I am
You
not
can be part of the board. No, it's just when it comes to vote.
I'm not an officer of the company. If I was an officer of the company, then yes, that is a conflict of interest. But there's no direct financial gain on my part. So we're going to have a little issue here, I guess.
I don't want to be the person out forward on this. I want to be able to advise equally to each member of the board and try to ask direct questions. And maybe this is a general question that I don't want to speak out loud, but is there anyone else that sees a specific section of the policy that Bob's talking about? Is that fair to ask everyone?
That's fine. Yeah.
Under page 4, that's the first page. Under A section, conflict of interest means the following. The first paragraph, halfway down, it says business associate or employer or employee of the official.
You're under A, Bill, is where you're at.
Under A, number 1.
Back here on conflict. You gotta go back.
You gotta go back to page 4.
I think it's your first page. It should be page 4 in the
It's
packet.
gotta be 4 on the top. It's a 4 on the top.
4 on top.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you got 2 different documents.
Yep. Well, I'm not sure where that is, guys.
Yeah, right here.
Right there.
Right
Okay.
here. Here's where he's talking, right in there.
Right in A,
Under-
the direct conflict of interest. Public officer.
It's actually page 4 in our packet. It's
Yeah.
under
Okay.
A, and then that first paragraph explains a lot of stuff there.
Do you want to point out what line you're talking about? Just so I can
If you go into for the Sherry, that a conflict of interest arise from indirectly personal financial interest of the officer or the person or group close tied to the officer, including his or her spouse, household member, child, stepchild, parent, grandparent, grandchild, sibling, aunt, uncle, brother-in-law, sister-in-law, business associate, or employer or employee in the outcome of any official action.
Okay, I got it highlighted.
And then it goes on and explains more. That's their definition.
There being VLCT.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's all this came from.
Gotta make another phone call to VLCT then, don't I?
'Cause what we're adding to their document is anything in yellow.
On the previous
Yep,
pages there.
yep, I got that. Everything in yellow is what we're adding.
Right.
That's correct. Everything else is from the League of City and Towns.
Okay.
I know we have it on our town.
And Mark, I think we need to add something to this that I was informed last night at the board meeting, which I can help you with this, but we all have to take a course online. Every single elected or appointed or what's the other word? There was three of us. Any board, department head, elected, appointed, planning commissions, police commissions, water companies, water department, or water boards, commission, fire district, any of those. Highway. We have to take a seminar online with the Secretary of State. I believe that's where it is, or the ethics. It's a rule that was passed last year with the legislature. Anybody who is elected who is elected right now has to do it within the 100 days. Have to have it done by September. Anybody who gets elected in March has to have it done in 100 days after the election. So I'm going to take mine right away. That covers 4 of the boards I'm on. So
Just really,
Again, what is he calling?
adding that in there, that's required from us. I'm not sure what it's called. I got to go look at the.
The
Billy,
state requires it now.
as a point of information, Billy?
Point of
As I-
information. I think we need to add it to the document.
Yeah, I could tell you that if you look at the statute, and this is after talking to the Ethics Commission person, that this solid waste districts, schools, fire districts are exempt from the statute.
Oh, they are.
So I didn't want to add that extra duty to you, especially if it's not required. So I try to get closer to the document as suggested by the Ethics Commission staff person. And I think incorporating this section here does that. I think that would go above and beyond the law or something
Which
that
I believe you're right, Mark, but the town might ask their member to take it.
they will have to.
Yeah, we have to as a selectman. We had
Because
it at our last meeting.
they're appointed from the town. We don't need to do it as a district, but each individual, if they fall as an appointed position of the town, then they'll have to do it.
We could add something in there. If you're on an appointed position in the town and you've been appointed to this board, you shall comply with the town rules.
On to the towns, yeah, right.
So I can add that section in there.
We don't need to police that since we're excluded, but the town needs to do it.
Yeah, so we don't put anything in there.
Isn't everybody on the board an appointed member?
Yeah,
Appointed from their town?
We think so. Most of them are, but that was up to each
Yeah.
individual town to police this.
That's the town.
But isn't each town? But if your only role with the town officially, your only official appointment is to this board, as well as your solid waste representative, that's what you're appointed to.
Right.
Does that?
You need to talk to your town
Or
attorney
you
on that
take-
deal. I know what I was told last night because I'm on the board. So once I take it, I'm covered wherever I go and wherever I serve once I do it with the city. So, and it's required by the city as of last night with the city attorney telling us we have to do these things. And I'm just bringing to our attention because some of the appointed officials will probably have to do that depending on whatever town you're in and what the town policy will be.
So, Bill, can you go over that statute again? What you're talking about?
I got to look it up.
Well, you reiterated it at the beginning of the conversation. What is it that you have to do?
We have to take a seminar online. It's about an
Seminar
hour.
online.
Yep. And then once you go through the test, you get certified. And you're certified for 3 years. You got to take it every 3 years. And
But what is it called?
looked up
Is there
last night's
Vermont Code of Ethics
Vermont Code of Ethics?
yes.
for public servants.
Okay.
For public service, yeah.
And I forgot
Yeah,
the bill number. I forgot the bill number, what it was.
Yeah, it's Act 102,
Act 102,
or S171.
S171.
Yeah.
Okay, because I can tell you, none of my select board in Castleton has done this.
It just came out.
Oh, it
Just came out.
Oh,
Everybody, it came out before, but they're just pushing it right now.
Now
Okay.
they're pressing the button.
This came out a little bit ago.
Because ours just came up at the last selectmen's meeting, which was.
Yeah, ours came out last night. Yeah.
Yeah, ours came out Monday, so that was the first we've heard of it. Then all our board, actually budgets time was on, so we had all our department heads there. So all the department heads ended up going to have to take it too.
Okay.
That's correct.
Anything to do with any of the department heads, or elected officials or department heads.
Or appointed.
Oh, appointed, right? Okay. Yep.
So there's a
So the
point
people
of,
who are in office now or holding positions now have until September. The new people coming in March after the election, they only have 100 days.
it's right quick, as to, other than the bulleted parts, in the section that I referred to, I'll file the notice with the State Ethics Commission and delivering it to the Board of Supervisors, or would you like it to be filed with the State Ethics Commission and to report it in an open meeting in front of the full board?
Yeah,
That could be, I'm flexible with that. I don't know if
I
he has
think
to.
that's fine.
write
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, I think we go with the whole. I think we go with the whole board because most of them are going to have to take it anyways because they've been appointed or from select boards anyways.
No, if you have a conflict, you
Oh,
need
if you have a conflict.
you need to disclose it.
Oh, okay. I thought you were talking about this charity. Okay. Yeah.
So you write.
So
You
Mark,
write the
you're putting in that section B on page 7.
putting that section about how to file it with the Ethics Commission in open session.
Okay, gotcha.
Where, right here on page 7,
Yeah.
Yep.
that last sentence, I'll clean that up to include to report it and have it on the minutes at a Board of Supervisors meeting. So that would be disclosed.
Okay.
He doesn't have to write you a letter and say, hey, this is this. The person would just say it. And if you take a look at the whole thing, if you disclose it, you protect yourself. It's in your own best interest to disclose it, and then take the steps of the next step of recusal or whatever.
Right.
But the first step is to disclose it. I think we have TJ here. I don't know. TJ,
Okay.
are you here?
Want
Mark, how
to
are you?
drop into that right
Hear me,
now?
Mark?
Not to waste his time.
1 minute. We'll be with you in a minute.
Okay.
So any other changes, Mark?
No.
So
Just what's-
do we want to do a motion to send this to the full board?
Yeah, I'd say so.
Okay. To
I'll make a
adopt.
motion. Make a motion to to send it to the full board to be for adoption. Now, is this gonna take effect now, or do we gotta wait till we have the full boards?
No, it won't take effect till the full board votes on it.
Okay, that's why, because I said somewhere I was reading it. Took effect.
I have some. I put like a draft on the last thing. It's last approval date. So I'll take that out and I'll put the new date, which would be.
Oh, so you're going to take that out. Okay, gotcha. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, and I'll put like a revision note that it was revised back in 2020.
Okay.
So that would be another section.
So do I hear a second? Did I hear a second on that?
You didn't get a second yet, no?
Nancy just raised her hand.
Second.
Okay.
Any other debate? If not, all in favor say aye. Aye.
All right.
Aye.
I don't hear any no's, so the motion carries. Okay, Mark, you can bring your guest in now.
Hi, TJ.
Yes. Hi, Mark. How are you?
Hey, TJ. We're doing good. We have Bill Gillum, Nancy, and we have Gabe. We have Bob here. We have Chet here as part of the e-board members. And we do have a quorum, and we have item number 4 on our agenda, which is the 2022 audit report. Up ahead of us, I do have the audit report. I don't know how much you really want to go into the specifics of it, because I know in my experience, TJ he's always done a wonderful job in presenting to the full board. At least the summary or any challenges that occurred during the audit period. And he made himself available for questions. So I guess right now before us, we have a real draft document, which is enclosed in your packet. There is another revision that I have just in the mail, just in. Which is just a little bit cleaner. It doesn't have the highlighted sections and so forth like that as highlighted. But I think substantially after doing a quick read, there's no significant language that I guess won't come up in the conversation with TJ. So I think for no further ado, you guys had a chance to take a look at it. You have any questions or TJ's here?
Well, this is the first I've seen it.
Yeah.
I didn't have it ahead of time.
No, I got that just when I sent it out to myself.
Yeah.
Not too long ago.
So I obviously haven't gone through it, so I have no questions at this point.
Okay.
TJ's going to come to our next meeting.
No, he's here today.
He's here today, but will he be at the next regular board meeting?
I will not be able to be at that next board meeting. Mark gave me a date, and that doesn't work into my schedule with tax season. So I thought this would be a better forum just to kind of address the delay in the audit.
Did you find anything that jumped out at you, when you're going through the audit that should be corrected? Or
No, there's nothing. Again, the main thing is this is 2022, so we're way past that point at this point in time.
Right.
So I think the main reason for being on this call was just, Mark wanted me to kind of explain some of the struggles and delays that we had during the course of this audit.
Yeah.
This is being recorded also, TJ, for public consumption.
I'd like to hear the explanation, TJ, on why it's taken 2 years or 3 years.
Yeah, I mean, I think I presented Mark with some kind of a highlight. I don't actually perform the audit. I have a staff member that performs the audit, and she's got over 20 years of experience with auditing and governmental units. So she's very savvy when it comes to governmental audits. But there was a struggle in delays in getting information. A lot of requests were sent, and it took a lot of time to get responses back. In an audit process, because we do auditing for a lot of other entities, what happens is when we get delays like that, we may be in the middle of the next project. We don't necessarily get back onto it right away. So this kind of happens several times during the course of the audit, which has put, some significant delays into the issuance of the final report. But you guys all should have a final audit draft that once it's approved by management, we'll issue a final report.
Is that what this is, Smart?
This is a draft.
This is the draft he's talking about?
Yes. And when it's finally finalized, we're going to get a written document, just like in the previous year, as you see here.
Yep.
And I'll get like 15 of those, so each town would have a copy for their records if they want. It'll go online. It will be in your. Do you think, TJ, this would be ready for the next meeting, which is the first Wednesday of the month, for the final PDF to be in there?
Yes, definitely. Yes, it's ready to be issued now once the final rep letter is signed. So it could be issued within 2 or 3 days once upon the signature.
Signature
Perfect.
from Mark?
Yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think it's the Mark and a board member.
Okay.
It's actually great, right?
or is it Mark and the treasurer?
Yes.
So when do you think you'd have that, Mark?
Tonight?
You're going to have that copy tonight?
No, it's another sign-off sheet saying that the project is complete.
Complete. Then they'll make the copies.
Okay. So again, when will you have that complete for us?
For the next board meeting.
Yeah, that doesn't answer my question. Okay, a day before the next board meeting, or 2 days before the next board meeting, or a week before the next board meeting?
As soon as I get it, I can I'll forward it to you.
So
Okay.
what I'd like to do for the next board meeting, with this document being in the agenda, Mark and I will work very hard to get this out to people at least minimum a week prior, so you guys have time to read it.
Thank you, Bill. That's what I was getting at.
Yeah, it's only the 22nd.
I can't get it Monday night at 6 o'clock at night and be ready to roll by Wednesday night. So,
TJ said,
Exactly.
yes, yes, thank you.
And if we can do it sooner, I will get the agenda ready to roll sooner. As soon
Thank
as
you,
Mark
Bill.
tells me we're ready to go, we'll get it out.
Okay.
Because this is too big of a document, to send that, 2 days prior. I think, like minimum.
Yes. Yep.
Any more questions for our?
TJ, perhaps you can, before you end, talk about if you found anything of substantial concern. Is it a clean audit?
Yeah, I mean, there's a clean audit. I mean, there's one GASB implementation that hasn't been implemented yet. It's a leasing standard implementation, and we just didn't have enough of information to properly implement it. So there's just a section in there that says, a new GASB standard for lease reporting has not been implemented. But other than that, everything else has, been signed off on, and we finally gained enough of audit documents. We felt comfortable issuing the report.
Now that's on the lease one?
Yes.
Okay, the lease part of the gap part of it? Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I
A
see
lot of
there's,
entities have not. It's not uncommon for a lot of governmental entities to not. It requires extra work by management to try to review all different leases and determine whether it should be reported in a different way. But again, it's a standard practice. A lot of governmental entities have not implemented the lease standard that I'm talking about.
okay. 'Cause I just see you had a bunch of gap ones. I didn't know. I just want to make sure we're looking at the right one. That's all.
Yes. Yep, that's the one. But that's
one.
it, I guess, Mark.
Okay.
That's it.
Okay.
Again, if anybody else has any questions, then after that, they can just relay it to Mark, and then our firm can get back to you with any additional questions.
Okay, because I had a correction and a question, but I can send it to Mark.
Yeah, I would just do it at that point, and then I would have my staff look at it and make any corrections needed on the final draft.
Okay.
Okay. Well, Mark, if you just forward me anything else that you have any questions on, okay?
No, that sounds
There
good.
was another question I'd like to ask, and how we can solve this problem in the future on getting the information on time to you from our end. Maybe we can put some things in practice to make sure that happens.
Mark and I have already kind of discussed the importance of, timely responses and timely audit reports. So I think Mark and I have had that discussion, and Mark kind of understands, the parameters that need to have taken place.
Okay, good.
Okay, then, Mark, we'll catch up then later this week with the final stuff.
Thank you very much.
PJ. Thank you, TJ.
All right, no problem. See you guys later. Bye-bye.
Yep. Bye.
Okay. Sorry, I got to go back to the top here. Go. Okay. Anything else, Mark, on the audit? Okay.
Nothing. It's a good audit. The idea of the lease agreement, the lease part of it is a new standard for GASB. Usually, in my experience, sometimes you hear towns that, hey, you have this new standard up, and the town would adopt that for this work to be done.
Okay.
It doesn't change. It's not a significant event that will change the outcome of the audit. There's no fraud. There's no non-transparency. There's no.
I saw that in the management comments. So, yeah.
So that I think we have a good audit, which is good. It did take longer, and at this point we have a new audit team coming to us, We're going to be meeting the last Thursday and Friday of the month. I supplied, actually, as of today, a whole list of documents and where you can find these on the website. I know Greg has, I see Greg on it, and Greg has a lot more things related to financial statements and in the list. So I'm hoping that we can get this done before they come here, and we're going to be working with them, or he's going to be working with them for 2 days, and getting this stuff done. This is the 2023 audit and the 2024 by this year, so we can get caught up.
Are they gonna work on both at the same time, or are you gonna do the 23, then do the 24? Say,
In any audit, you see the auditors come in and they get like a room or an area to camp out.
oh, yeah.
They open up their laptops and they work very closely with the
Yeah.
treasurer or the auditor of the
Right.
town. And that's Greg's job, and that would be his only role during those 2 days, is to get them what they need.
That's what we do.
And at that time, at the end of the day, they probably have a list of documents that just aren't available right now. But they'll give us a letter of this to us as soon as possible. And one of the things that I'm hoping to give them is this audit that I'm going to be giving to you guys, so they can work on refining what 2022 is, so they can get 23.
Who's the new auditor coming in, Mark?
It's Smith. It's Ron Smith.
Ron Smith?
Yep.
Is he from Rutland here?
It's the firm's out of Maine,
Out of Maine?
and he lives in Vermont, and he
Okay.
has many towns that he audits.
Okay. Does
And
he have a company name, or is it
our Smith
R. Smith?
accountant, our Smith.
Okay.
So once the 23 is done, then they'll be on track and we'll be on time for the 24. Normally, that's what they do now for 24.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Bill, when you say on time, what is on time? By the end of May or end of June, or
It's usually October.
it's that late in the year?
Yeah, well, most major cities are that long. It takes them a long time. And
This is maybe I'm idealistic, but my interpretation is after you do the sit down, you should be done within 2 or 3 months.
So when you're having to sit down?
Couple of weeks.
But that's on the 23 we're talking.
this is a smaller audit, so this is a little bit easier than most of the major towns.
This is a new firm coming in too, so
Yeah.
they're
might
not
be
used
quicker.
to doing it, what our processes are, what our schedules look like. So it may, if we get this in September, I'll be happy. Get your September meeting.
So we're shooting for 2023 to be in September.
Yeah.
Okay. And when are they coming in to sit down? The last Thursday this month? Is that what you
Thursday
said?
and Friday, yeah.
Yeah.
Thursday and Friday,
Yeah.
the last Thursday and Friday of this month,
Yeah.
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 which is next week.
Are you coming?
Yeah.
No,
We can
no,
put you to work.
I'll be out of the
Next
country.
We can
Next
put you to
week.
work.
I just the 27th is Monday, so 28th, 29th, 30th, 30th, and 31st.
Okay.
Okay.
They're going to be this time.
I think so.
Okay.
I think I'll take a look.
So any public comment?
No one's from the public.
Anybody from the public? There's no one from the public. Okay.
Nope.
Do we need the executive session? Mark?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Unless you think we do.
No.
Okay.
If there's no other business, a motion to adjourn is in order.
Motion to adjourn.
I'll second it.
We are adjourned. You can stop the taping.